football, and the Super Bowl rematch does not historically go in favor of the loser. Usually, if you won the Super Bowl, you beat up on the team that you beat in the Super Bowl. But the Eagles did beat the Chiefs. So for Brock, Brew, must win?
Well, look, after the game against the Chiefs, guess who comes to town? The Cowboys. So there's a get right. Even if they lose this game, there's a get right game right there. Redemption
we just got
would be
Brew's
nice.
pick, and he didn't.
Just throwing it out there that there's redemption's coming if they do lose to the Chiefs. However, even with that said, it is a must-win. It's a must-win for the Niners because of, one, their record. They're 3-3. 8 teams in the NFC have a better record. I know they're at the top of their division.
That's right.
But still, like, every win is important for the Niners when you start out 3-3. So it's a must-win in that regard. And it's obviously been an up-and-down season. Lost to Arizona at home. They've looked great at times, looked poor at times. What better way to boost team spirit and really get yourself going on a run than to beat the team that is undefeated and beat you in the Super Bowl? So, yeah, for team morale, they need this win. It's a must-win.
It's an absolute must-win for Brock Purdy. At some point, they've got to live up to the hype. And the best way, if you want to be the king, the best way to do it is to beat the king. Brock Purdy's trying to get paid. What better way to do it than to go and lead this team over with a victory over the Chiefs, which I'm sure they'll do.
You're sure they'll do?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I would pick it as an upset alert, but the line's too small.
No, the Niners are the favorite.
Coach goes,
The Niners are
game.
favored to win this.
Oh. Well, that would be even worse. Maybe I'll have been the Chiefs.
All right, you guys are out of your minds. There is no team playing the Chiefs is facing a must-win. It's the opposite. It's a can't lose.
Oh,
What?
If you're.
I think, didn't you have the Ravens as a must-win?
That was a weird spot because psychologically for the Ravens because of how last year ended. But this is again the Niners should not be concerned with the Chiefs because it's a different conference. So many things have to happen for them to face each other in the Super Bowl. Most certainly the Niners have to get there. Also, Brew's point about that you glossed over, I felt, which is you're right. There's a bunch of teams in the NFC with a better record, but no one in their division. So the Niners fall to 3-4, they're fine. Seattle is tied with them in the division at 3-3. When you're playing the worst team in the league, if you're struggling or average, it's a must-win. So when you're playing the best team in the league, it can't be. So it's definitively not a must-win.
What is it making the least?
I don't know if
Nick's very literal.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
And what if
score
you're making the least amount of money?
What do you mean if you're hold on, Coach? Coach, the
count
idea
it.
that Brock Purdy's contract is going to be predicated on whether or not he beats Patrick Mahomes on October 19th is lunacy.
It's not going to be predicated on it, but it's going to be a strong negotiating point when you bring it up. Can you play with the big boys? Can you pull this team out of the mire that they're in? Yeah, that's going to be important.
Okay, moving on.
And Nick, for team spirit, they need this.
I don't think
that's what
score this.
must-win is really
Wait,
about.
are we scoring?
No,
not
for the
Coach wants the point.
This
I
was
think I should get the
Just
point.
hold on. Can I just tell you what happened here for the record? You don't score something or nothing. And you did yesterday.
Yeah, you see?
Which
You
screwed it
switched the
up.
scoring.
This is the segment you score. But something or nothing you scored yesterday,
think
which is
Wild
why
was
it
at the
surprised.
concert.
Wild was hanging out with
Yes.
Nick.
Okay,
and
then let's just keep
Justin
going.
Timberlake last night.
Okay. They're now getting off track. Okay, so this is interesting. I kind of agree with all of them to a degree, but for various reasons. I understand what Mangini is saying in terms of contract year. For Brock Purdy, it does help him, I guess, technically, and from a bargaining perspective. If you talk to any ex-player, they will talk about during negotiating, like you get nickel and dime. They say, look what you did bad, look what you did good, right? It's like, hey, I threw for 40 touchdowns. Isn't that great? Look, yeah, give me money. And they're like, yeah, but 70% of those touchdowns came from teams that were under 500. And look at all these interceptions, right? Like, you do get pulled down every little thing that happens. So if you're looking at it from a Brock Purdy perspective, although I think Brock Purdy deserves his money and has proven to be, worthy of a contract and a great contract, So I'm not saying that he has to like earn his keep or anything, but it is technically all part of it, right? It is technically part of it. So I'll just kind of, just kind of give that caveat for there. But at the end of the day, if Brock Purdy loses this game, I don't think it's like proof he's not good enough and he doesn't deserve his money. Like that's what I don't think is accurate at all. But in terms of what Bruce saying, so I don't think they have to win, and then I'll address Nick. I don't think they have to win. I think they have to just play really good, because I agree they have been up and down. They've had some tough losses, and they are 3-3. I think they should be able to win that division, right? They should be able to win that division, even with a couple more bad losses necessarily. The Seahawks, for me personally, they do not scare me. The Cardinals, they seemingly can't get things right either. And the Rams are already, mostly, what are they, probably maybe like a game or so for being almost statistically out of it, outside of them just winning every single game from there on out, which is unlikely to happen. So even just from a playoff perspective, I don't know if it's like a must win. So that's why I think it's a must win, high quality, play good, play high quality, play a high quality game. But at the end of the day, and this is where I'm going to agree with Nick, like this is still the Kansas City Chiefs, right? This is Patrick Mahomes. This is Andy Reid. This is a great defense. This is Spags. So that's why I don't even think that Brock Purdy even has to ball out, or this offense has to be unbelievable, because the Chiefs defense is arguably the best defense in the NFL. Right? And it's just what's going to happen. It's not to say that Brock Purdy could throw 3 interceptions and have 180 yards and just be like, hey, what do you want me to do? That's the best defense. Like, that's not good enough either. But it's somewhere in the middle where it's like, yeah, you can have an ugly, muddled up game, because that is how the Chiefs have been winning. And the Chiefs absolutely get that benefit of the doubt. So I think it's interesting, because I think at the end of the day, both these teams are not really playing that great necessarily, even though the Chiefs are indeed 5-0. And it's like it's just so interesting, because this is where with the Chiefs, you really are relying so heavily on what they've done in the past. If the Chiefs were this team and we had no idea who Mahomes was and Reid and anyone else, we didn't know that they won in the past, you would say this team is not that good. You would say, yeah, they're finding ways to win, but like, how sustainable is it? Their quarterback's not that good. They have no weapons. Everyone's injured. Who's this Andy Reid guy? Does he even know how to run an offense? Like, what is he even doing, right? Like, you would have legitimate concerns, but since we know how good they actually genuinely are, you're relying on them to be able to continue to find ways to win in a uglier, muddled up fashion. Not to mention, you're also expecting, like, if the moment calls for it, someone like a Patrick Mahomes, of course, would be able to step up and elevate Travis Kelce as well. So that's why they get ultimately that benefit of the doubt. And so even if you lose to them, it's like, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's why I'm just not gonna hold the 49ers feet to the fire in that regard. But I do think playing a really good to great game is necessary. They can't have like a bad game, right? If they just have a bad game, then I think that's problematic. Or if they get the lead, let's say they jump out to a decent lead and it's the fourth quarter and now it's, I don't know, 21-10 or something, and then they end up losing that game, that would be a problem to me as well. It would make me then start to really lean more towards the side of this team needs Christian McCaffrey, and Shanahan needs Christian McCaffrey more than ever. And like I always say in all my 49ers videos when we're talking about big picture, like, I believe Christian McCaffrey will be back by the end of the season. So, but I think the other thing is this, right? If the Chiefs are indeed the Super Bowl favorite, right, to come out of the AFC is at the minimum, this is then where you figure out kind of then where you stand, right, for the 49ers. This is the barometer. Can you compete with them? That's what I'm saying. You don't have to prove that you can beat them on October 20th or, whenever the heck the game, whatever the date of the game is. Like, you don't have to prove that you indeed can beat them in October. Like, it actually doesn't really matter, right? The Eagles proved that they could beat them last year in the playoffs. Lots of teams proved that they could beat them, right? But like, come time playoffs, like, will you beat them? So it doesn't even mean anything, even from a spirit thing. Like, because again, the Bills have beaten the Chiefs in the regular season. Has that helped them in the playoffs? No. So I don't buy into all of that. Even if a team keeps beating you, as someone who's played, at various levels of competition and for different sports, where I've been in a position where you played teams that you knew were really, really great, there was never the feeling, from my perspective, of, oh, they keep beating us, we're never going to be able to beat them. It was always like, you beat us, but not this time. Even if it still was this time and they beat you, it's still always like, I don't care. Like the 49ers do not fear the Chiefs. Brock Purdy does not fear the Chiefs. Shanahan does not fear the Chiefs. Kittle, Debo, they don't fear the Chiefs. So that's why beating them is not going to be like, see, guys, we could do it. Like, Kittle doesn't need to be like, oh, gee, we beat them, guys. I told you we can do it. Like, yeah, we did it. Like, this isn't a Disney Channel movie, right? Like, they don't need that support. These guys have insane beliefs in themselves. In fact, they look at that Super Bowl and say, we had you. We just messed up and it slipped from our fingertips. We will get you next time, right? Like, that's the mentality. The Ravens believe, we had you. Like, Bills, we had you. Even though the Chiefs win. And again, the Chiefs deserve the credit. So understand what I'm saying here. These teams are not like, oh, we can't beat the Chiefs. What do we do? Like, this isn't a movie. So these guys, all these players have insane beliefs. So even if they keep losing, there's no feeling of, we'll never beat the Chiefs. Like, that's not the mentality of the 49ers, which is why I also don't think that this is a must-win game to kind of prove that they're capable of it. That's why I think they need to play well. They need to play good, prove that they're a top team, and kind of start to get that momentum going now, right? To kind of shed some of those other bad games that they had earlier in the season and move on from that, right? And kind of turn the new page. And because they had a really nice, great win versus Seahawks, but it's like trying to continue that momentum. So this will be a fun game. It's funny, Mangini's saying that the 49ers are, I think he said, definitely will win. And, that shocked Nick, right? Of course. I think the 49ers have a bunch of key injuries on defense. I think I saw that. I'm not sure. So I don't know. I'm not sure where exactly. I don't know how that helps or hurts them, how that would hurt them. Because I do think at this point at the season, honestly, for both these teams, any other injuries are going to really hurt them, right? Both these teams. The Chiefs get any other injuries, it's like, it might be a bridge too far. But the 49ers, they start losing other pieces on defense as well. Offense, like, it's just not going to be enough. These teams right now are not as resilient as they were in years past, right? So any other additional issues, additional problems, it just, from my viewpoint, it ends up being a big deficit, right? If the Chiefs lose Travis Kelce now, right? Or if they lose Hunt, I guess, I don't even know. It's like, okay, well, now what possibly do you want the Chiefs to do? And it's like, if Brock Purdy and the 49ers are playing and then Debo goes down again or something, it's just like, well, what do you want him to do? You want him to beat this elite defense right now that's fully healthy, Spags, go firing on all cylinders, and you want to see him be able to do that without his full arsenal? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I think these teams become significantly less resilient based on how they've been playing and based how the seasons have unfolded compared to what they had in the past. So either way, this game, honestly, I think will be a lot of fun. And I believe that both teams really, really want this game, right? I think the 49ers, despite what I was saying about the fear or this or that, like, they want to win this game, of course. Like, they do want revenge. They are going to use it as a rallying cry. And the Chiefs are going to use it as a rallying cry too. They're going to be like, we're going to prove that we always own the 49ers, right? Like, that's going to be their rally, right? They're going to try to come and prove that they're better than us, and we're going to march into San Francisco, into the Bay Area, and be like, nope, or you think you got us, but you don't. So, both teams, they have this rivalry at this point, and both teams want to prove that that they're better. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think it's a must-win for San Francisco? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.